Hello and welcome. Many claim that the West Australian newspaper isn't fit to use as toilet paper. A more prevalent view asserts it's fit for nothing else. Its skewed journalism isn't simply the misreporting of news, but rather carefully calculated obfuscation and deception, which begs the question, is this an extended arm of terrorism itself? I've covered this before, but its overarching importance re-emerges after gutless, grovelling shills masquerading as journalists ludicrously claim that fracking doesn't pollute air, disaffect groundwater or damage the environment. I'm unsure whether these painfully obvious lies are a feeble-minded effort to mislead or deliberately provoke outrage. Either way, it underscores how unreservedly propagandised this loathsome publication is. So don't buy it. If you advertise, cancel and don't renew. There's not a shred of publishing integrity left. Mainstream media is in freefall both in terms of moral and intellectual credibility, as well as commercial viability, whereafter it's only a matter of time before this shameful betrayal of credible journalism vanishes forever. Meantime, it's important not to underestimate propaganda's ongoing effect while understanding its key role in manufacturing consent for criminal conduct that is deviously obfuscated by NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. The runaway war crimes of illegal invasions and occupations of sovereign nations could never have taken place without the corrupt, colluding media softening up the public with calculated deception of lurid fabrications. The hideous ecocide of fracking would be stopped in its tracks if the truthful coverage exposed the actual devastation. This is micromanaged perception management, a prime example being the doctored photo image of Lee Harvey Oswald tailored to portray the crazed lone gunman, which deep state criminals expertly set him up for. This rampant falsification of authentic news reporting into pure propaganda has disastrous consequences through covering up ongoing crimes against humanity while shoring up predatory rule by blatantly criminal government. This perilous situation will only worsen until an awakened and alert community holds spineless journalist imposters to account. By publishing propagandized deceit, corrupt press insults its readers by asserting they're too moronic to discern fact from fiction. Not only does it support the premise that communities don't deserve the fundamental human rights of clean, untarnished water, non-toxic air, and an unpolluted environment, it's effectively doing all it can to ensure that that guaranteed ecocide takes place. It asserts we deserve outright poisoning by refusing to expose the monstrous scam of neurotoxic water fluoridation. This hateful bias supports the genocide of vaccines and stonewalls the horrific truth about chemtrails, smart meters, the lethal perils of 5G, child abuse, state-sponsored child stealing and human trafficking by Luciferian pedophile rings and worse. This is terrorism. Without mainstream media's deceitful narrative, false flags and never-ending fake news, none of these appalling crimes could take place. Systemically dishonest reporting facilitates these malevolent crimes, while YouTube and Google increasingly block alternative media channels truthfully reporting current affairs and newsworthy events. Both government and media now use the twisted euphemisms of hate speech and political correctness to confine and stifle political dissent. These terms are weapons deployed to forcefully prohibit free speech. Legislating any form of speech as a crime is the hallmark of tyranny. Be that as it may, corporate media progressively loses control of its perception deception as heightened public awareness differentiates obvious truth from their transparently threadbare propaganda. The malicious lies and counterfeit news of mainstream print and broadcast media represent the worst betrayal of journalism in the entire history of news reporting. Honest mainstream journalism is entirely extinguished, crushed beneath the goose-stepping jackboots of corporatism. It's usurped by a darkly Orwellian post-truth era wherein accurate reporting of verifiable facts is egregiously supplanted by globalist propaganda, with truth-tellers routinely murdered. For example, US reporter Michael Hastings and DNC whistleblower Seth Rich, and a great many more besides. With few noteworthy exceptions like John Pilger, the clear majority of Australian journalists assume pole position in a cringing hall of shame for failing to take meaningful action in defence of their viciously persecuted countryman, authentic journalist and real-life hero, Julian Assange. John Pilger has fittingly dubbed these cowardly shills as Vichy journalists, in line with the French collaborators of World War II. The unmitigated betrayal and corruption of journalism facilitates the mass murder of endless illegal wars of aggression, horrific torture, human trafficking, illegal organ harvesting, the rampant pedophilia and child sex trafficking, and satanic ritual abuse, including infant sacrifice. Such unforgivably wretched depravity is beyond my powers of description, and I truly wonder how these news correspondent imposters, these Vichy journalists, can live with themselves. They're not only collaborators with the enemy, but effective frontline terrorists promulgating raw deception. I'll include a link to my video send-up of Australian journalism below, although it's far from being a laughing matter. Thank you for watching.